What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Vanilla Soup. Here today I have accompanying me...
I'm scared. This is my first time doing it. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Joey Ferris from Ferris Wheel Pro. And Kyle here, Vanilla Soup here, invited me here today because we're going to talk about two things we love very much. That is Metroid Prime, Halo, actually three things, boys named Kyle.
Yes, boys named Kyle, be where it be, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so as you guys know, if you follow the channel at all, I'm a huge Halo fan, and if you follow Joey at all, you know he's a huge Metroid fan.
Mm-hmm.
So us two coming together talking about this just kind of felt right, and I'm sure a lot of you will think so as well. Joey, so what is the situation we have going on?
So Metroid Prime 4 is being made by Retro Studios. So as a result, Retro Studios is going through a hiring process right now. They've been doing that this past year. And they just hired a character modeler by the name of Kyle Heffley, which is of no relation to Greg Heffley from the infamous Diary of a Wimpy Kid book series / movie series. And he's got a pretty good resume on him, let me tell you. Like, he's most famous for his work on... Is it just Halo 4 and Halo 5?
Yeah. So
yeah.
the Bungie, or I'm sorry, excuse me, the 343 Halo games.
Yes.
But also known for some action on Sleeping Dogs and Call of Duty Black Ops. Obviously, the big claim to fame is Halo 4 and Halo 5.
It's Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah,
though, let's be real.
It's Sleeping Dogs. See, honestly, I had to remind myself what Sleeping Dogs actually was.
It was a very I wouldn't say underrated, but not as appreciated game as it should be. But other than that, yeah, his work on Halo 4 and 5 especially, which is funny because the team at 343 is largely, I wouldn't say largely, it's made up of former members of Retro Studios.
Right, and so it's kind of, I feel with that included, everything's kind of, with this hiring, is just a perfect fit. It's like a glove. A lot of people give Halo 4 and Halo 5 a bad rep because it's not really the traditional Halo art style, and that's my biggest point, and I think why this is such a good get for Retro Studios, because while it's not necessarily the best Halo 4 or Halo 4 and Halo 5 aren't necessarily the best Halo art styles, I can agree with that, even as someone who loves these games. It's a great Metroid art style.
Yes. That's what I've been hearing. I mean, I've played Halo 4 and Halo 5, and yeah, it's more of a stylized realism than like a raw kind of realism, you know?
Exactly. And you look at Spartan Locke in Halo 5, his armor alone, it was exactly what I thought of when this announcement or when this kind of news came out. I was like, wow, that armor could have been used for a bounty hunter that Samus has to go up against or, maybe team up with. But it seems like a perfect fit in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I just sent you a link. You're gonna love this. I went to his portfolio and look what else he worked on.
Let's see. Oh, he worked on some Connected Ventures for Jack Sparrow.
Yup.
That's kind of cool.
Go.
Yeah, so he's my boy.
Yeah, he's automatically a boy.
His character profile is even Spartan Locke. So let's get real. This was intentional. It wasn't just like it's a coincidence that you applied to this job. No, I'm sure he was headhunted in this situation.
He totally was, yeah. And it's funny. I always saw because from what I understand, there's quite a few big heads leaving 343 Industries right now since Halo Infinite is wrapping up development in like the next year or so.
Right.
So, and then that news came about when Retro Studios kept listing like art directors and stuff like that on the project. So I'm just thinking, okay, I'm sensing a little bit of a trade-off here. And I know Retro Studios is located in Austin, Texas, but where is 343 Studios located? I'm gonna look that up right now. As American, based in Redmond, Washington, so they're way far off. But the life of game developers hard, guys. Gotta move around, do all that crazy stuff.
Well, and that's, I think it's interesting that because you bring up the whole trade-off. Halo 5 or Halo Infinite, is wrapping up development. Retro Studios is kind of gearing up more on Metroid, which is really great to hear from a logistical standpoint and from a business standpoint as well. Even if you're not really a fan of the games, you can kind of look at the analytics here. Halo has traditionally been a big reason as to why Metroid Prime can't sell. Joe, you've gone on about that before. Would you care to go into more detail?
They've always, oh man, it's so frustrating, dude. Like every time a Metroid game comes out, except for like the handhelds, like Samus
Right,
Returns,
right.
it's always like the same year a Halo game comes out. Metroid Prime 1 was another exception that came out a year after Halo Combat Evolved, I think. But Metroid Prime 2 was released right next to Halo 2. Metroid Prime 3 right next to Halo 3. And it's just like, guys, can we not? Can we just like take a breath, take a minute?
Well, it's almost poetic in a way that because they aren't going to launch together, their Retro Studios are like, all right, well, you've screwed us over in the past, so we're gonna get one of your boys over here.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, obviously we're both. I mean, you're more so a fan of Metroid Prime than I am. I still think the series is a great series, but you're more into it than I am.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that Metroid has had a lot of things go against it. Development issues for Metroid Prime 4, launch issues with the original trilogy like you had just talked about. There's just been so many things that have always gone against a Metroid Prime game releasing and selling well. And I think that adds to the anticipation on Nintendo's side, saying, okay, well, maybe we don't want to make a fourth. And that's why it's taken them so long, in my opinion. That while fans want it, will it sell? I mean, not to get too off track here, but think about like a Mother 3 situation. People want Mother 3 localized, or we want, or at least a HD remaster of the first 2 Mother games. Will they sell though? Like, that's the thing. We as fans sometimes don't know what we want.
Well, here's the thing.
Of course, sorry, before you get off, I am gonna say I do think both Metroid Prime and Earthbound would sell. But
yeah, well, I'm thinking about Earthbound. That's the funny part.
Well, from a Nintendo standpoint, that's where I'm stepping my feet into the shoes of a Nintendo executive.
Yeah, of course. Like Reggie. Oh, too soon. Anyway, so about that question, like that's why I'm frustrated that Nintendo hasn't released the Prime trilogy yet on the Switch. Like that would immensely help the sales of both the Metroid franchise and Metroid Prime 4. And I think what would also help as well is to have Metroid Prime 4 stay the hell away from anything Halo.
Yeah.
Like I'd be so mad if so Halo Infinite is coming out next year, right? We know Prime 4 is not coming out next year. So like what if Halo Infinite 2 comes out the same year as Prime 2? I'd be like, well, damn it.
Dang, we're talking about a long time. I mean, I know that they're going to have a quicker turnaround on the next Halo game, but I don't think the next Halo game is going to be Halo Infinite 2 or whatever. I think it'll be another Halo Wars title, or it'll be traditionally how they intercede themselves.
Yeah, if it releases next to Halo Wars, it's fine.
Right, totally different genres.
Yeah.
But also, I want to talk about the market itself lacking a true sci-fi shooter on the Switch. Like, Metroid Prime would fill a gap in the market that I think would not be satisfied by any other IP.
It absolutely would not. Yeah.
Nintendo knows this too. I mean, this is why they turned Metroid into a first-person shooter back in the GameCube days, because they noticed that people love this, sci-fi shooter game, Halo, and so we're gonna make one too. I don't know if it exactly happened like that, but it
was a complicated mess of things.
Right.
That was probably one of their thinkings. Like Miyamoto said something along the lines of, it would work better if we could see from Samus's perspective.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It was also weird on the GameCube because it had tank controls instead of like twin stick type of, not twin stick, what's the term? Like traditional first person shooters, things that Halo Combat Evolved perfected before any other console shooter did, like, to their credit.
Right.
And yeah, I agree with you so much. Like, there's been a void, for me at least, and I think for many others, in Nintendo software that needs to be filled by Metroid. Like, I feel like Nintendo games these past 10 or so years have always like tried to cater more towards children, of course, like, because they're family games and stuff. Like, you could argue even Breath of the Wild, like the Zelda games, even their most like hardcore-esque adult-ish games, like teen rating games, they're still like childish, cartoony art style, that kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I want another game with the the same amount of like epicness and the same realistic art style, like what's the term? Stylized realism
Yeah.
that only Metroid can provide, and that's been missing from Nintendo's Void for so long, and I miss it. I miss
Yeah.
it so much.
Well, that is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much, Joey, for joining me on this video. Where can we find you?
You can find me on youtube.com/FerrisWheelPro, and I might have a channel up. I mean, I might have a channel. No, I might have a video up there. Yeah, I might have a channel. Who knows? I'll have a video up by Halloween talking about some really cool Nintendo Direct leaks that may or may not be real. They're probably not, but I can't help but talk about them. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram @FerrisWheelPro, where you can find my hot selfies and my hot takes.
Nice. Thank you so much again for joining me. And remember, guys, tonight we are doing a Luigi's Mansion 3 stream for the story mode. So we're going to start around 8:30 p.m. PST. So make sure you join in for that. And until next time, everyone, I'll see you online. Vanilla Soup out. Yeah.